For today, our panel consists of Pierre Gagnon from our Information Technology Services Office, Trish Luciani from Student Success Services, and Marianne Heist from the Academic Center of Excellence. We also have additional staff from each of these departments who will be monitoring the Q&A and answering any questions submitted. If you have any questions regarding departments or services, please register and attend our other table talk sessions or check out the orientation videos. You can do this on the Canadore orientation website. Now, due to the high number of attendees, we're using the Q&A feature for all attendees to submit questions. Once your question has been answered, it'll be displayed for all attendees to see. If you do not want to share your name, you can choose to ask a question anonymously. Please make sure to keep your questions appropriate and use respectful language. All attendees for today's session will also be entered into a draw for a $100 gift card. Your names will be entered into the grand prize draw, and Trish, you might want to step in. There's a duplicate here of 100 for 500. Which one is it?
So it's both. Each session, everyone who attends a session, you all have a chance to win $100. And if you attend each session, you get a name put into the grand prize draw of $500. So at the end of it, if you attend all 5 sessions, you get your name put in 5 times.
Perfect. Okay. That was kind of a trip up there. So to get started, we do have an icebreaker poll to start our session off. So I'm just going to launch the poll, and if you'd like to vote on it, it's going to come up to your screen in a moment. So go ahead and answer away. Boy, it's fascinating watching numbers come in on a poll. Clearly, we have a lot of students that are coming to us from outside of Canada, along with Ontario and other Canadians outside of Ontario. So everyone is obviously very welcome. Thanks for joining us today. The second question in the poll is awesome. Everyone's interested in everything identified. So that's great too. It shows that obviously we're doing this session and getting answers out there to people who want the answers. So I'm just going to end the poll. And now I'll identify our panelists. So we do have another poll for each person that's going to speak. So the first person speaking is Pierre Gagnon, who's an IT technologist in the Information Technology Services Office. I'm just going to launch that poll, and we can get some individual questions kind of identified right away. Okay, so it seems like we've had a fair amount of participation, so I'm going to end the poll there. But Pierre, it's your turn to take the spotlight, and obviously the answers to the questions show a level of interest in what these answers might be. So I will hand it off to you.
Thank you, Daryl. So good morning, everyone. I'm Pierre Gagnon from the IT Service Desk. I wanted to provide you with some information on what the IT Service Desk can do. We maintain and support all the users, students, and staff for Canadore College. We also take care of all the hardware, software, computers, printers, phones, and miscellaneous devices. When would you like to come see us? If you need help with wireless connectivity on a personal device, if you need access to a service like Office 365, you're locked out, you need a password reset, self-service, pin resets. If you need to get on a computer in a lab, we can help you with that. Or if you need a library password reset, we can do that as well. Now, how would you find us? So I'm just going to share something for you. So how do you find the service desk? We are located in the D wing of the College Drive campus. There's a sign up on the door, ITS Service Desk, and that's room D228. So we handle walk-ins in this office. Now you can also call us 705-474-7600 at extension 5800, or you can email us to service.desk@canadorecollege.ca. Now, if you need to find us on the website, you can go to canadorecollege.ca, go to About, and then search for IT. Now, one thing we like is when you come into our office, if you can have your student card for verification, just so we know, we have the right student, so we can get the right information for you. So I'll get rid of this. That brings us to our next topic, which is new for 2021, which is bring your own device. Oh, one sec here. So if you go to canadorecollege.ca/BYOD, you could find the information that you need on this site. So the type of information you might want to find is, say, the requirements of your program. So that would be right here. And if you scroll down, you can see what type of device you need for which program that you're in. So every course is pretty much listed here. And every student is required to purchase a device this year. So depending on your device or your course, you may be required to, say, install an extra piece of software. That might depend on your instructor, what they'll ask you to install. You'll also use your device for getting onto the iLearn platform, or possibly accessing the O365 suite, which is also a new venture for this year. One thing we recommend about your own device is to install antivirus software. So there's freeware versions online, whether it's OS X or PC. So you can just search online and find one of those versions. Now, my next topic I wanted to speak about was Office 365. So every student has an account with O365, except currently at this time, the Stanford students do not have access to this. We're currently working on adding the Stanford students though. So if you need assistance with this, you can go to canadorecollege.ca/office365. That brings up this page here. Then you can view the guide if you need assistance logging in. Or once again, email us, call us. We can reply with the same sort of information. So the main step here is to be able to log in is your first name dot last name at canadorestudents.ca, as it displays right here. And your password should be your date of birth, day, month, year, 2 digits for each, just the same thing as your self-service would be, same thing as your library account would also be. Now with O365, that gives you access to webmail, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, OneDrive, and it's most likely recommended that students would install Teams to their personal device. Just that's how instructors will communicate with you and teach classes with you. Trying to think what else for that. That's all I have for Office 365. Now, that brings me to my tips. So my tech tips, just 1 second here. So the student wireless network is Canadore_students. And every campus will have student wireless. That's where you can connect your personal devices to when you're on campus. And we're constantly adding, we're adding extra density for that. So it's getting basically more powerful all the time. Tip number 2, memorize your student ID number, because that number is what you use to log into various services that we have. So it's a good thing to know off the top of your head. Like if you forget it, you'll need to either find your student card or recover that from the registrar's office. Tip number 3, when you're in a computer lab, be sure to sign out at the end of your session by clicking on the start button and then the login logo from when you're logged in, and then click sign out. If you don't, people can get access to your information because your computer may be logged in. They could also do things like printing, possibly open up websites you've been on, things like that. So make sure you turn off, you sign out of the computer. If you can't sign out, reset the computer. The next tip I have, I recommend not to save passwords in the browsers simply because of the last tip. So if you've saved passwords in a browser and then someone gets on your account, they launch the page, they can be on your information. And my next tip would be, if you ever lose a personal USB device or possibly something else like a tablet or a phone, you can come check in D228. Sometimes they're turned into us, so we can also pass that to you. And then if they're not recovered in a certain period of time, we bring them over to security. And that's basically it for my tips. My last tip that I want to give is kind of an icebreaker here. And this happened just yesterday. So let's share. I'm gonna get this open here. So when you're on campus, remember to watch out for the wildlife that's around. So let me go find my video here. I can't see it. right here. Having some technical difficulties here. Okay, right here. So this happened just yesterday. If you're driving on campus, remember there's geese and wildlife all around. So just be careful of that. And that is basically all I have about Tech Talks.
That's perfect. Thank you, Per.
From the IT department. So thank you, Daryl.
Thank you. And I will just make a quick note for those that have not come across Canadian geese before. They can be really mean, really mean.
Yes, they can attack you.
They definitely can. So keep a distance. I do just want to make a quick mention. I see people are raising their hands. Unfortunately, we're not going to take questions that way. So please just enter your questions into the Q&A and we will hopefully answer your question. We are obviously going to have multiples of the same questions, so just be aware of that. So you might see that question earlier in the chat or the answer field. So just be sure to check that out. But moving on to the next speaker, we have our very own Trish Luciani from Student Success Services, who is going to be discussing a little bit about their office. And obviously it's a very important office for all the services that are available to you as a student. So again, I'm just going to launch a quick poll and then we will have Trish take the stage, so to speak, and discuss a little bit about Student Success Services. So the poll is now launched.
All right, we've got about 70% of our attendees have answered the poll. So I'm just going to get started and you can feel free to continue putting your input in. As Daryl mentioned, my name is Trish and I am part of Student Success Services. And our office does provide a variety of services for students. But today I'm going to really focus on the accessible learning services and in particular, the assistive technology component of it. So from the survey, we do have kind of a mixed bag. Some of you have used assistive tech, some of you haven't, and others might not be sure what it is. And that's what I'm here to share with you. So assistive technology, or sometimes it'll be referred to as AT, is any item, piece of equipment, or product that can increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of students with disabilities. There were some examples in the poll. So a lot of you are familiar with different types. There's text-to-speech technology, noise-canceling headphones, closed captioning, just a few of some of the AT that you might have encountered just during your time at school or just in day-to-day living. So assistive technology enables students to perform tasks that they would otherwise not be able to normally perform, or just helps them do it a little more effectively. So the poll just kind of touched the surface on some of the AT that's available, but there are also many, many, many more items that are considered. So if you do require the use of assistive technology or any other academic accommodations, you can register with our office, Student Success Services, and the Accessible Learning Services. So what I'm going to do right now is just a quick little screen share. to show you how to find where our office is. All right, so when you come to Canadore, the main web page, if you just scroll down to the support and you go to Student Success Services, it will take you to our main offices page. And here there is just a little nice click to register with Student Success Services. You'll click on that, it'll pop open a page or an email that will allow you to contact our office and email us directly. And someone with you will respond to you, just get you set up with an appointment to meet with one of our navigators. So if you also go here to Accessible Learning Services, it does highlight some of the main services that we provide, gives a list of some of the accommodations, and assistive technology is one of those accommodations. So the accommodations that get put in place, they are determined based on documentation that is provided. So some examples of documentation that you can provide would be a psychoeducational assessment. We do have a medical documentation form that is also on the website. If you had an IEP or an individual education plan in high school, or even if you have a OSAP verification of disability, we can use that to determine what accommodations you can use and if assistive technology is one that can be part of your plan. So if you don't have documentation, or if you're in the process of acquiring documentation, you can still contact us and see what supports might be available to you. So there are a couple of ways that you can get a hold of us. The first way is through the website, clicking on that register button, or you can just email us directly. So our email, it is studentsuccessnow@canadorecollege.ca, and we can put that in the chat for you. And then you can also call us. Our phone number is 705-474-7600, and the extension is 5205. And someone in our office will be more than happy to help you get started with the whole registration process. So that is it on my end, but if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will get to them as soon as possible.
That's
Back to you,
awesome.
Daryl.
Thank you, Trish, very much. So the final office we're going to hear from is the Academic Center of Excellence, and we're going to hear from Marianne Heist. But first, we're going to just have a very quick poll once again. So just give me one moment here to get it up on the screen. And you should see it now. Okay, so we're just short of the 80% amount. So I'm going to hand it off to Marianne at this point. Marianne is an educational technology support specialist in the Academic Center of Excellence office, commonly referred to in short form by ACE. So Marianne, it's all yours.
Hi, everyone. So yes, I'm Marianne Haste. I work with the Academic Center of Excellence, or ACE for short. ACE is responsible for many different aspects of academic quality assurance. And one of my primary responsibilities is the training, support, and administration of our online learning environment. And that's what we're here to talk about today. That environment is called iLearn. Canadore has branded it iLearn, but the product we use is called Brightspace, or D2L. And you may hear some or all of those terms during your stay and your experience with Canadore. iLearn is the portal that allows you to interact with your course material, submit work for assessment, see your grades and feedback, and any other ways in which your instructors decide to load information into the course and have you interact with it. There's various activities, quizzes, discussions, and the like, but each instructor will use it in their own way to suit the purposes of their course that they're teaching. So let me show you around iLearn and help get you familiar. So I'm going to share my screen here. Share screen. And I'm going to share my iLearn screen. So first of all, can you see this Google page, Daryl? Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that. So logging into iLearn, you will do so from either on the student resources page on the Canadore website, there is a link, but you can also just punch in ilearn.canadorecollege.ca and that takes you right there. You can probably Google D2L or iLearn Canadore and the link will come up as well. And this is the login page here. So remember to review the iLearn orientation video. We're about to launch a new even better version, but it's there and it will kind of walk you through. So if you're missing something that I say today, all of the information will be in this video as well on the login page of iLearn. Remember to do a system check to make sure that your device is up to date and able to run iLearn, and then log in. Your login is your student number and your password is your date of birth in the format day, month, year, as is indicated up here. Should you have trouble logging in, try the set reset password button or one of these, a new student or an existing student checklist to help you troubleshoot why you can't log in. Once logged in, your interface will look something like this. Again, we're in the process over the next week or two of tweaking things just a little bit, but it's essentially going to look like this. Your courses down the left, important Canadore news on the right, and up here you'll see a calendar of important dates and deadlines for Canadore. Academic support links are available here and technology support links will be available here. This interface is also we're doing a whole bunch of upgrades right now. So academic support will take you to this student support interface, which has a lot of links out to important Canadore pages and information. And now I can't see my header bar there. I'll get back rid of that. And the technology support page will bring you to something that looks like this. And this is a bit of an important piece. We are creating an interface that will allow us to get important how-to, login, troubleshooting, and product support to our students through this interface. So these are the tools that we're starting with. iLearn is the one that we're looking at right now. Echo is a way that some instructors will be recording and providing lecture material to you. Teams and Zoom, you will likely have, one of the following used as a meeting technology. Office 365 we've spoken about. We'll try and provide you some helpful information there and self-service as well. Now I'll just get rid of this again. Once you are, quick links I'll show you as well, important Canadore dates and deadlines, student resources, a login guide here as well. So remember that the main homepage has all of these various supports for you as a student. This is your primary sort of information, helpful guides, how to, and the like. In order to get into a course, you click on the course tile, or you can also find them up here in your drop-down menu. If they're not pinned to your dashboard or your homepage, you can pin them using these little push pins. Clicking on a course tile will bring you into the course. Course news on the left, important dates and deadlines on the right, and you'll find that the toolbar is a little bit different. Your content area has its own link, as does attendance. Attendance is only taken for courses that have an asynchronous component. You're meeting with the class at the same time. Evaluation will have your grade book, activities such as Dropbox, quizzes, discussions. If you want to see your class list, look at your calendar. Discussions is also here. And most importantly, that technology support page is also found in this toolbar as well. So those tech support pieces will always be available to you no matter what page in iLearn you are in. So let me just have a look. A couple of additional things to mention are that although you will be able to log into the iLearn environment once you've done your online course registration, so that is actually enrolling in the individual courses for the semester now that online registration is open. The morning after that, so not immediately, that's when iLearn catches up with your registration information and allows you access to the system. Now, your courses are not accessible to you until the course start date. So if that happens to be next week, or not next week, September 7th, I think it is, then that's when your courses will appear in the system. You can verify that you are registered in your courses through self-service. And like I said, the course shells become available to you on the course start date. As for tips and tricks, one thing I do want to mention is, and I'll just show it from here. If you click your student name here and go into notifications, I highly recommend that you download this Pulse app. It is a product that D2L has made for their product Brightspace that we're using. And it's the best way to get notifications for all your courses, whether it's new content, grades have been posted, new news items, everything. If you choose down here to receive text messages or email for these items, the information is going external to iLearn. You might delete an email, you might lose, or your notification might go into spam or junk. Best thing to do is to keep everything in a D2L product. So Pulse app, and check your course. So that brings me to my next tip is check your course activities and deadlines frequently. Make sure you know when things are due. Check your course calendars and manage your time accordingly. Log in frequently so that you can keep on top of what's happening when. And my last tip is use those resources that I showed you. So if we're looking up here, the academic support, the tech support, the quick links, always reference that. If you have a question about the technology or you are looking for some helpful advice, maybe some videos to help show you what to do, go there first. That's what will direct you to the information that you need. That's pretty much it for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Marianne. Appreciate that. And I did just notice we've had some extra participants join in at a little bit of a later date from the start of our session today. Just be aware we will be posting this on our website. I'm not sure I know exactly where, but maybe Trish, are you aware of where it'll be posted on the website by chance?
It will be on the orientation webpage under the resources. So if you check on down there, and we can drop a link in the chat just to the actual orientation page, and the orientation resources page is where it'll be. And there you can find like the first year checklist. There's also some links to some important contact information.
Awesome. Perfect. So as we get into the Q&A part of our session today, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of questions. So, and the ones that we do have are actually being answered as we speak, but one that isn't, and how I'm going to process this is because to some of the new students and even some of perhaps the current students that we have at Canadore might be confused sometimes by what IT does compared to iLearn and the ACE office. Well, just basically get anybody to answer the question. So if it's an answer that's going to come from Pierre, then Pierre to speak up, and we'll kind of go like that. So the one question that I'm seeing is, so your student number, I thought she said an email address with Canadore student. Oh, and Marianne's already answering it. So we have all of them being answered right now. So we don't have any open questions. So if you do have questions, how many days will it take to receive the travel support letter? So we don't have anybody. Oh, Francine's on it. So that is good. My classes are hybrid. So how would I know when my classes are offline or offline? How do I know what my class will be on 7th of September? So Pierre? Okay, never mind. So we want to answer the question, if your classes are hybrid, how will you know if they're offline or online? So
Did the library leave?
Pierre, you're not muted.
Hello.
Hello.
So the question about the online library, that is eclibrary.ca.
Perfect.
And students should be able to go on the website. So if you go to the website, canadorecollege.ca, and you click on support, then student resources, there is a library services link there.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Another one for you, Pierre. Can you please share a list of all the software required to be installed before classes start? I believe I know the answer to that, but I'll let you answer it since you're the expert.
The main software I would say would be, well, you need Office 365. So you can install, you actually have the option to install those apps as a student. So you can do that right from your login on the website, which is also in that handy document on the website there that we put. So Teams would be one for communication with your teachers and your possible other students. Other software you might want, antivirus. And the other requirements would be coming from your instructors. Like they might say you need a copy of AutoCAD or something, and they would have a way to provide that somehow. So other than that, that's all we would require, as far as I know.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Let's see. So Stephanie Roddick asked the question, do you require antivirus? So is it absolutely required, Pierre, or is it more of a choice?
I mean, it's not required, but it's recommended, right? It's just keeps your computer safer from possible viruses coming in. Like I was saying, there's freeware versions, like I know for Windows, there's ABG antivirus. For Mac, if you just Google Mac OS X free antivirus, there's some that will come up as well. I just don't think ABG works on a Mac.
Makes sense. So we are getting questions about quarantine plan and travel tickets. Be aware that quarantine plans, that's a quarantine approval. So just give me a moment here and I can pull up the email address specifically. It's just going to take me a second. I believe it's quarantine.approval, but I'm just going to check that. So that would be quarantine.approval at canadorecollege.ca. I don't want to confirm, obviously. And be aware to all the attendees that some of the questions aren't ones that our experts here can answer. So just be aware of that because if no one can really answer the question, then we're kind of at a negative spot to deal with your questions. So just be aware. And my computer is really slow, so I apologize. And yes, quarantine.approval at canadorecollege.ca is the email address to be aware of. Okay, just looking through the questions for the next one. Pierre's already answering that one. As an international student, I am able to log into iLearn. Well, Marianne, are you still on to answer that one?
I am. Sorry, what was it? Is it an open question?
Yes, so I just identified it as an answer live. So as an international student, I am able to log into iLearn ?
Yes, you will be able to log into iLearn, but it means that you have to go through obviously your registration process. And then the final piece of that is the online registration through self-service. So once your online registration opens, you go to your self-service account, which is a separate to iLearn, and you go through the online registration process there where you select your block of courses and or your gen ed if you need one. And then once that information is done, you've completed online registration through self-service, then it's the following day. So the next morning, you should have access to your Canadore iLearn account.
Perfect. Thank you for the answer. The secondary question that came up, and it's also for you, Marianne, is on the Pulse app, it gives me options for Brightspace or iLearn. Doesn't matter which one I log into.
Yeah, I see that one there. If you look for Pulse, it probably will be a Brightspace product rather than iLearn. iLearn is a Canadore specific name for this product, but D2L makes the Pulse app for all Brightspace learning environments. So you're probably looking for the one with the little orange bee. And if you can log into it, you'll log into it in the same way that you log into iLearn. So using your student number for your username and your date of birth for your password.
Perfect. Thank you for that. We've got a few questions about registration. It depends on the campus you're at for registration. So those of you that have asked that question, if you are a North Bay or Parry Sound student, your registration should be open currently. If it isn't open, then you're likely a Stanford student. And like I mentioned earlier, on August 23rd, I believe the date was, they will have their own session at 10 a.m. So they'll send an email about that shortly. So just be aware of that. We have another person saying that they've registered successfully, but did not receive mail regarding registration being complete. You should be able to just log back in, I would understand. And maybe Marianne, you can help with this one, but that I would assume once somebody's registered, it shows up on iLearn, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, with the registration piece, they register through self-service. And yes, you should be able to then log back into your self-service account or look at registration information or history in your self-service account and see that you are indeed registered in those classes. You should also be able to view a schedule for your classes if there is one. I know that for Stanford students, and I suspect there's a few of you online, when you do that through, when you do online registration for Stanford classes, no schedule actually shows up because we don't put the dates and times in those sessions. Your schedule is available through your Stanford portal. Yeah.
Perfect.
But yeah, I suspect, like you said, Daryl, I think that the Stanford online registration likely is not going to start until closer to September. If I know their timelines, maybe towards like even the week of 23rd to the 27th is when they actually might open up online registration, and everything else such as the pre-screening and the orientation sessions will be held probably coming up shortly.
Perfect. Cool. Pierre,
Daryl, sorry, I just want to jump in with regards to registration information. So
sure.
Registration for North Bay and Parry Sound students did open August 10th. It is a staggered registration start. So there are some people who haven't been able to register for their programs, but by the end of the day today, all programs, anyone who's attending the North Bay or Parry Sound campus should be able to register for their programs. I have just dropped the link to the registration webpage in the chat. So you can click there and it will list the times of your registration. So whatever program you are in. And there is also a link to where you can go if you're having some challenges with registration. So there's a direct link in there.
Perfect. Thank you for providing that. And I apologize to everybody for misspeaking there about the staggered registration. New question, Pierre, if you wouldn't mind jumping in. So a student has asked for when really they should be using their personal email versus when they should be using their student email.
That is a great question. I mean, it depends on what email they have as the preferred email for their school. So under the self-service account, like when a student logs in, they're able to change their preferred email address. So during registration, it would be the email that was provided, right? So like if it's a Gmail or a Hotmail account, so they could change that to their student email. So then all of the email would go to their school account.
Perfect.
So, and that also is the same as it's tied to iLearn. So I know Marianne was, she's big with that as well, because people always have issues with which email is going to D2L, right? So if they want to have everything for the school together, that's what they would use.
Perfect.
Yeah, if I could just add on to what Pierre said, whatever your preferred email address is in your self-service account will be the one that is attached to your iLearn account as well. So if your instructor is trying to send you mail from iLearn, or if they're sending out an email to the class, or for whatever reason, it will be going to the email address that you have as your primary or as your preferred email in self-service.
Perfect. Thank you, both of you.
Yeah, basically just pick one and make sure it's your preferred in self-service and check it all the time.
Excellent. Yeah, makes sense. There's another question that we have up, and there are obviously many, but one that I've identified. So somebody had asked, when I search for textbooks of functional genomic and clinical course, the code FCG does not show up on bookstore.com. Would you please instruct me how I can find it? So I'm actually going to answer that one, because I would imagine that this is the answer. It's likely that the instructors haven't yet uploaded their book list to the bookstore, and so that's the only reason why it's not up yet. So they will have that come up once the year starts. So I wouldn't stress out too much about it right now. There's still, I mean, we're the middle of August, so there's still a couple of weeks, so no stress, and that will be uploaded before the beginning of the school year. Okay, let's see. Questions.
There's a question there, Daryl, about Pulse again that I would like to answer.
Sure, yes, go right ahead.
So yes, I told everyone that the Pulse app is indeed the best way to access all of your notifications and information for iLearn. And in fact, it will redirect you out to the actual site as well on whatever device you're on. I do need to make it clear, just as I said, you don't have an iLearn account until after you've done online registration. You won't be able to log into Pulse either, because you don't have an account in iLearn yet. So because Pulse, you will be logging in with the same login information. When you can log into iLearn proper, iLearn.canadorecollege.ca, you will then also be able to log into the Pulse app and have that service available to you as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We have another question. Just a really quick note, actually. Registration includes payments. Well, registration, once you've registered yourself, typically what happens is then the amount that you will owe at the beginning of the school year becomes live. So yes, you're going to be eventually making a payment. However, keep an eye on your email, and likely you'll get an update regarding when that becomes due to that to your email. So try not to stress. I mean, just in general, I know students have a lot of questions before the start of the year. As a liaison officer for the college, it means I'm the one that travels around and with my coworkers and sees all the new students before they become students. There is always this major stress at this time of year, which is why we're doing this event. But try not to stress out too much. Everything has its time and its place, so don't stress out too much at this point. We'll get your questions answered, and yeah, just don't worry about it too much. And registration link you said on that chat meant for. So Trish had posted the registration link just to kind of give an update for everyone in terms of what the when registration would open for each type of student. So whether you were a first year, second year, program specific, that's what that link was meant for. So hopefully that answers that question, and I'll identify it.
Yeah, and Daryl, if you want, I can just go quickly over and the actual times for the registration.
Sure.
So when registration launched on the 10th, it was for Commerce Court campus, all the new and returning programs, aviation campus, and practical nursing year 1. So that was on Tuesday, day. So you can still register for now up until, and Kathy's on the call, so she might be able to jump in and say when the registration actually closes. But yesterday, it opened for practical nursing, all returning students at College Drive. And then also all the remaining health programs and human service programs were able to register yesterday. And today at 9 a.m., if you're in media, design, and dramatic arts, you'll be able to register as of 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock, you'll be able to start registering. So it just opened. And then 12 p.m., all other remaining programs. So if I didn't say it, if it wasn't listed on the website officially, at 12 p.m., you should be able to log on and register for your class there. And then also, if you do follow the link, there is a Zoom link set up for our support staff. So we do have some people available to connect. They'll be able only to answer any questions specifically with registration.
And hi, Trish. Sorry, it's Kathy just jumping in here. The registration window is going to remain open for students until September 20th. Except there is an exception for the aviation programs, in which case registration closes September 7th.
Perfect. And then there is a question just that giving a link for today's session in the chat box. Trish, I think you had already said this, but you will provide that link in the chat before the session ends in terms of the page where we'll upload the video of this session.
Yep, definitely can drop that now.
Perfect. Okay, so that'll be in the chat to the person that asked it. So Lovepreet asked a question about does Canadore accept PTE or not, and maybe I'll just get somebody that we do accept PTE. However, there are certain scores that we require. If you want to send us an email, info@canadorecollege.ca, we can send that information to you. So just send us an email and we can send that chart. So another question we have, which is a good question, can I get in contact with students of Leisure and Recreation Service course? So that is an answer that I can give. Unfortunately, we can't give you that contact information prior to the beginning of the start of the term, only because everyone has their own privacy. So we can't really give you contact information. We do have a Unibuddy platform. I'm not exactly sure if there's a Rec and Leisure representative of that program, a student representative. However, if you go on the program page, there'll be a bubble that pops up and asks if you have any questions about it. So feel free to get in touch with us that way. Then Stephanie asked a question about if I purchase a physical book, I'd imagine it'll be sent to me via FedEx. Yeah, if you are an online student, then yes, that's exactly how it would be shipped to you, and you'd receive it in whatever time frame FedEx or whoever the shipper is, whatever the amount of time they state it's going to take to receive it. So that is basically it. That's that question. And then there's only one last question. I want to know that I can change my campus, and Jessica's already on it, but perhaps you can't change your campus other than the one you've applied to. So I'll answer that one. Jessica, let me know if that is incorrect, but I've been helping a little bit with those questions. And so, yeah, you can't change your campus, unfortunately, from the one that you've applied for. So now could you please tell me the app, please? So Andrew's getting back on that. And log into Island. So we're getting a few different questions and we're really quick at answering them. So Stephanie, you had another question about purchasing them all at once. Yeah, if you know the books that you have to buy and all of them, then certainly you can buy them all at once. It's up to you. And then Andrew's also going to text you there. I log into self-service, that is put in my ID and PIN. Does that mean I've registered myself? So I don't know if Marianne, you're able to answer that one or not. Logging into self-service, is that registering yourself? It sounds to me like you're referring to just logging into self-service. That wouldn't technically be registering yourself. You'd have to physically, virtually register yourself in the courses themselves. But if you do have questions about that, you can certainly get in touch with the admissions office to have that answered further. And I'll mark that one as answered.
Yeah, I missed some of that, Daryl, but yeah, certainly once your registration window is open for your program and for your campus, whether you're a North Bay, Parry Sound, or Stanford student, then you can register in self-service. And yes, you would log in just as the first time it's worth mentioning, the first time you log in self-service, it will ask you for some security questions, I believe. So there is a bit of a very short process of just verifying your account and setting up some sort of security questions.
Perfect. And Trish just also posted the Brightspace Pulse app link for Android, and I would imagine also for Apple yet. So if you're wondering where to find that, there is a link. And Pierre has just shared AVG free antivirus for students looking to download an antivirus for their computer. Hello to Mayra. Not a question, but hello to you. Hope all is well. And so, Asia, you've asked about how to find your books or things you need for your course. You'd go to the bookstore website. You can also, once you've registered for your courses themselves, you'll have as we saw in the iLearn kind of example, you will have your, and you're already answering it, Marianne, but yeah, you'll have them populate, and then you can basically look them up on the bookstore or wherever you want to purchase them. So I'll leave that to you, Marianne.
I hope I'm answering this correctly. I'm saying once you know what your course codes are, you should be able to look up your resources and textbooks associated with that course or course code on the site, correct?
I would believe so, yes, if you're asking me.
Yeah. Last time I looked, that's how it was, but it's also been a little while, so.
Right. Oh, Marianne, we do have another question. I have a question to Marianne. I'd like to have my recorded classes of my first semester made available to me. How can these be sent to me on my account in iLearn?
We'll answer that one live. Depending on when your first semester was, I'll let everyone know that you have access to your courses in iLearn for approximately an additional semester. So that means that your fall classes should all still be available to you in the winter semester, but after that you lose access to them. If you've lost access to those first semester classes, you may have to reach out to your instructor to provide you with some of that important information that you want to get back. So yes, I recommend to everyone that if there is content in your iLearn courses that you want to hold on to after the fact, download it, save it, and take it out of iLearn, because you will lose access about, like I said, about 4 months, 120 days after the course end date.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So a general question from Stephanie, a random question, feel free to answer this or not, but is Canadore an accredited college unlike MEDX or Westerveld? Yes, we are an accredited college. We are not a private college or like a MEDX would be. So feel comfortable knowing that, yes, we are absolutely an accredited college. We are, that's why when you applied on Ontario colleges, we were there. You wouldn't find a private college on that website. So take comfort in knowing that. And just looking through the questions. Matthew asked, I just finished registering my classes. Would I be able to get a copy? Yes, Matthew. The link will be provided in the chat. So you'll just have to look there. And it's basically going to be on the orientation page. So once this session's done, we will upload it and put it there for you to review if you want to watch that again. Let's see. Oh, Stephanie's already on it.
Hi, Daryl. Could I jump in here? It's Kathy.
Sure.
Anonymous attendee asked, if I missed some classes in the beginning, what should I do? And I accidentally clicked the wrong things to answer live. So I'd just like to say, just be sure you email each of your instructors and advise them sort of what's going on, what the plan is, so that they can tell you, what you'll be missing, and you can get a plan together with each of your instructors and faculty. Sorry about that, Daryl. Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you for alerting me, because it's moving quickly, these questions. It's hard to keep up sometimes, but no, thank you for providing the answer. Which is Oh yeah, so in terms of the the prizes that are being awarded, not a gift, prize. Trish, maybe you want to speak to that, the $100 and $500 gift card?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, just as a thank you for participating in these chats, we do have gift cards that are going to be given out. So we will have a list of all our attendees, and we are in the process of compiling the list because we do have some names show up twice. So we got to make sure everyone has a unique name, and then we will draw the names. If you are the successful prize winner, we will contact you with the next steps about how to get you the gift card. The big grand prize, that won't be drawn until after all the sessions are done. So over the next few weeks, we will be contacting all the successful winners for each of the individual sessions.
Perfect. Now, Marianne, you're up again. How can I install iLearn on my laptop?
I think we just, there was another anonymous attendee asked that as well. iLearn is a website. So you don't download it, you access it via your preferred browser. I believe that most browsers work well with this website at this point. If you are still operating with Internet Explorer, that is the only one. You will not be able to access iLearn from Internet Explorer, but Microsoft Edge, Firefox, Safari, Chrome all work fine. So go to your favorite browser, type ilearn.canadorecollege.ca in it, and it will bring up the login page for the site.
Perfect. And as a follow-up, what's the preferred browser? Any of the ones that were just listed, Stephanie, are fine. So yeah, no stress. Let's see if there are any others here. So we got people answering all the current questions. So I'll kind of leave it at that. Maybe I'll just mention really quickly, we've got an answer forming for scholarships for postgraduate certificate programs like construction project management. This being a tech talk conversation, we don't actually necessarily have the scholarship, staff in financial aid that would handle scholarships, but just go to our website to the financial aid window, and they can, your email will be there, so that you can have the most up-to-date answer from that office. Then we've got a question from Gopal. Is it necessary to buy a new laptop if my current laptop is not meeting the BYOD requirements? And Pierre, I suppose that one's for you. Is Pierre with us still?
Yes.
There he is.
I mean, if the computer is close to the requirements, I would say it would be fine for the course. So possibly just if you reach out to the instructor on the list, they would be able to give you a more firm answer on that. Like, it depends what they're going to need you to run on that computer, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And the other thing I would just say is, as a cheap person myself, which I know is the word you're not supposed to use, but as somebody who's cheap, good, yeah, thrifty. You could always try it out the first class or so, and if you realize that there's really no chance of having it work for you, we do have electronic stores in North Bay if you're coming to the campus, so it wouldn't be that difficult to then purchase if it is an issue after the fact. So again, no stress. Now
that's right, or you could just do a small upgrade or something, possibly bring up some of the components, right?
Of course, IT says that, but yes, definitely it's an option. Actually, a general question from Raman Jat. How long is this webinar? It's going to depend on how long we have questions for. So we've got a space of 2 hours, but obviously if there aren't any questions past a certain length of time that's less than 2 hours, we won't continue to go on for any reason. We've also got a question since I'm online. Preferred laptop. There really isn't a preferred necessarily. Like Pierre mentioned, Stephanie, you can probably get that answer from your program coordinator if that works for you, since they'll have a better idea with the program you're in, what kind of requirements you'll have. So I would leave it to the coordinator for that. Karen has asked about when will the result of bursaries and scholarships. You'll have to ask that to financial aid. Now we don't have a representative here, so finaid@canadorecollege.ca will give you the answer for that one once they're able to get to your questions. So I will leave it there. And when will the registration portal be open 24 hours? So again, registration depends on what campus you're at. The links have been provided in the chat section, so I would leave it to that link to answer. And unfortunately, the question isn't specific enough to be able to answer, so we'll leave it at that. Where will I find a list of what I need? Again, program coordinator Stephanie is the one that can kind of provide that. It's hard when there's over 90 programs that we offer to know exactly what each individual student will offer. So, oh, FinAid, or maybe if I said dot, I'm wrong. FinAid, all one word, FINAID at canadorecollege.ca. Here's a good question from Arshpreet, not dealing with Tech Talks. I see we do already have a staff member on it, but how to know if your course is online, offline, or hybrid? You need to go to the academic plan on our website. There are different versions of the academic plan, so be sure that you're selecting the correct one, and it will say whether your program is online, offline, or partial, which is our way of saying hybrid. So leave it at that.
If I could just comment on that as well. I know a little bit about how the Stanford campuses are operating as well. I believe that they have sent out in their email correspondence the information on delivery as well. So please check your email. If you're a Canadore at Stanford student, check your email. The folks at Stanford have sent out correspondence on delivery and the like through their emails.
Perfect. What should we go to next? I don't know which person. So we just answered that, Manjot, in terms of it's online or offline. So there's an anonymous attendee asking, how will I know if my class on the first day is online, offline, hybrid? That'll be identified when you're looking at your schedule. So again, that'll be what you'll have to look at there. Navdeep has asked, how can I get my timetable? You'll be able to get that through self-service. You'll be able to, that's how you register, is through self-service. I don't know if anybody wants to beef up that answer, but, and then iLearn will eventually populate with it, I believe, Marianne.
Sorry, repeat the question, Daryl. I was just actually looking up what, I have a link for the Canadore at Stanford academic delivery plan, if I can provide that somewhere.
Sure, yeah, in the chat would be great. Thank you very much. The question was just, how can I get my timetable? So I was trying to say that obviously you're registering through self-service, it would be there, but iLearn, I'm assuming, if it's online, would eventually populate with those classes as well?
Yes, once you've done online registration for North Bay and Parry Sound students, your schedule will appear in your self-service account with dates and times. Your courses, your classes will be in iLearn, but not with a schedule. That's just your online class space where you can interact with your course materials. For Stanford students, your schedule, I believe, is in the Canadore at Stanford portal. I have put that in the chat as well. And it's possible that somebody already put that in the chat, although I'm not sure. The academic delivery plan. No. Sorry, the Canadore one's here. So for Stanford, I'll put it in the chat right now. And it's a link to their document that was sent out in an email, a link in an email to their academic delivery plan.
Perfect. Thank you for that answer. And it looks like the rest of the questions are getting answered. Oh, there we go. How to download AVG Pro. So maybe Pierre, if you could answer that.
Daryl, there is one question. Oh, sorry.
Someone was asking about AVG Pro.
Yeah.
So you need to go on the website. So if you just Google AVG antivirus, that brings you up, and you need to actually purchase AVG Pro to download the Pro version. So that's a license, and I believe it's, I think it was $60-something, and I assume that's a yearly contract.
Perfect. Thanks, Pierre.
No problem.
Trish, you were wanting to.
Oh, yes, there's just a couple of questions about online camp, or not online campus, just campus jobs that are available if Canadore has them. And there is the work study program that we do have where students can work up to 10 hours a week. I don't know if there's anyone on here that can speak to where they would find the information about when those jobs open and where they can apply for them.
I can help a little bit. It's Kathy. So if students go to the website under support and student employment, if you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see Canadore work study program, and there's an application form for you to fill in. And there's also a link to the job portal. Now, I'm not sure exactly when it will get updated with the jobs for the 21-22 academic year, but usually it's by like the first week of September kind of thing. So keep an eye on that.
Perfect. So that has been answered. So there is another question. I don't know if I certainly can answer it. I don't know if anybody else can here, but maybe Kathy, you're probably the best person. Do I need to visit campus to get my student ID card?
And that's a good one that I'm not familiar with. I don't believe so, though. I believe they'll be mailing them out, but just hang on and I'll see if I can find out a bit more information on that.
Perfect. Thanks, Kathy. What else do we have here?
So Daryl, Marianne, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, I saw a couple of things for people trying to log into various things. As a reminder, and again, it's going to depend on what you're trying to log into, but you may not have an account yet. There's still, if you're a new student, there's still some steps that probably have to happen before you end up having accounts created for Office 365, for example. For iLearn, like I've explained, online registration has to happen. So chances are good that, for example, and maybe Pierre can speak to this, if you're trying to log into Office 365 right now, I'm not sure if you have an account yet, if you have not done online registration, for example.
Yes, that's correct, Marianne. Students must register or complete the web registration. And then that provides them with a computer account at the school. Same thing for Office 365. And the same would go for also the library site.
Perfect. So Ramanjot has asked, do I need a travel support letter? Yeah, you'll still need a travel support letter if you're coming into Canada. Just email, and it's all done on the iSent app, but if you have issues with that, you can email admissions, and actually, never mind, you're getting responded to directly, so I'll leave it for Hinz to answer. So Pardeep, we just answered about the student ID. It will likely be mailed to you. At least we're pretty sure that's how it's going to happen. So don't stress out, it'll come to you in the mail.
Daryl, I just wanted to jump in and answer the question about buying the books. There's a question about buying books for practical nursing. You can check out the campus bookstore for information on what books you need to purchase. And I've dropped the link in the chat, so you can just click on there. And all you'll need to do is, if you've registered for your courses and you can select what campus, what program, what campus you are. So Canadore, the term, and then click on find courses. And you can shop by course. So you will need to get your schedule first to find out what classes you are in. And then you can, from there, you can go and figure out what books you need.
Perfect. Thanks, Trish. We do have two questions that are really the same, so I'm going to voice this one, and Pierre, this will be yours. Can I make a specific email just for schooling? Currently, it's all going to my main email that I use every day, and I don't want to miss anything. And the second question was essentially that, wondering if you get a Canadore email. So Stephanie, yes, you do, through Office 365. Was there anything you want to add, Pierre?
No, like they can use that one for school if they'd like. It's just like we said again, they would need to change their preferred email address inside of self-service, right, to fully utilize the contact from the school.
Perfect.
Daryl, it's Kathy. I have an
Yep.
update on the student ID, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So I reached out to admissions and they said that there will actually be an application going up on the website for the student ID to identify if you want a bus pass or not. And once that goes live, they'll be emailing all the students to let them know and be notified at that time whether it'll be mailed to them or if they're in North Bay, if they can pick it up, but they'll be notified that in that email.
Perfect. Thank
Okay.
you, Kathy.
Thank you.
So David, just as a kind of secondary part to your question, that you have your own email that you've used for years. Yeah, you can continue to use your own email. Just be sure in self-service that you've updated it accordingly so that you know, you don't have all your correspondence going to one and not seeing it. All right, we've got another question about the students registration that you're talking about. Is it the same with course registration? Yes, one and the same. We're talking about the exact same thing. Another question was, when do we get our student login? And you, I would imagine, already have that login. You may not be aware of it, but anybody who might want to answer that one better than I can.
I guess it
Please,
depends
Richard.
on which login we're talking about, right?
True.
Like Pierre said, the Office 365 might not happen until you're registered. iLearn doesn't happen until after you've done online registration as well. You may be able to log into your self-service account currently because you have to do that in order to do online registration. So that may be the only login or the first login that you've received and that you can actually use.
Perfect. So Karen has asked the question how to get access to students' email, which is made by college. Yeah, so that's through your Office 365, which Pierre went through earlier. Pierre, I don't know if you want to answer this one again, but that's one of the ones that we have right now.
So you would you'd navigate to http outlook.office365.com and your first name dot last name at canadorestudents.ca would be your login. So it's whatever your first name is and your last name, and your date of birth in the format of 2 for the day, 2 for the month, 2 for the year would be your password by default. If that doesn't work, you can contact the service desk for assistance on that.
Perfect. And okay, probably again for you, Pierre. So Stephanie's asked, am I able to check my mailbox on the Canadore website? Like the email, I assume is what Stephanie's referring to here. And the question is, what is that for? So Pierre, I'll leave that one for you again.
So that is what I was just recommending, the outlook.office365.com. If you haven't set up your preferred email, you likely don't have anything in there. Like, it would just be a blank brand new email account. Essentially, like, we don't really email those accounts unless it's set up that way.
Perfect. Thank you, Pierre. Another one from Stephanie as well. I've had a hard time logging in and I constantly have to reset my password. So I'll leave that one for you, Pierre, because I would imagine that's a lot of password resets happen a lot. So
that would depend on what you're logging into, whether it's self-service or the library site or a computer or email. Like, they're all different things, but some of them are all connected to the same password reset. So once again, if you just contact the service desk and provide us with your student number, your date of birth and the program you're in, we can look up your account and see which one's locked out, and we can get that going for you. And also just make sure you let us know which account that is. Thank you.
perfect. Thank you very much, Pierre.
If I could chime in as well there, Daryl.
Yeah, go ahead.
For password resets, there is a set reset password and forgot password link on the iLearn homepage. Please know that you do not get locked out. You can reset your password. An email will go to your preferred email in your self-service account. So it's another reason why it's important to have your primary or your preferred email correct in self-service. We at iLearn Support don't reset passwords. Everything happens through the system because we cannot verify your identity by email, especially. So you don't get locked out. Use the forgot password function and check your email.
Perfect. There is another question that we've gotten. So is there any WhatsApp group for Canadore College Scarborough Health Care Administration Program? Again, we would have to wait for the program to begin, and then you'll certainly have access to your colleagues in the program. So that'll have to wait for the beginning of the program. So unfortunately, I can't really answer that right now. So then another question, is the bookstore going to apply for Stanford students? I would imagine there'll be a bookstore at Stanford as well. They'll also have other retailers that you could shop with. So you certainly could still go to the bookstore website and order your books, but it may not be the most quick way of getting your textbooks. So probably just leave it at that. And Trish is already answering the final remaining one. We have another one. Ramanjot, we had identified what am I trying to say? Blanking. The course delivery academic plan is available on the website. That's been linked in the chat, so you should be able to find that. I see it's already being answered anyway. And lots more questions. You can order your books in advance if they're already listed on the website, on the bookstore website, I should say, but I always waited until I was actually in class to buy my books. The reason is sometimes professors can, they'll say maybe you need a book, or they might give you a hint like you don't need the most up-to-date edition or whatever, so you can save a little bit of money. So that's what I would suggest there, is just wait for your first class, and they'll probably get a little more information about really, do you need the absolute most recent edition, or do you can you get away with something else? The remaining questions are already being answered. We've answered 320, soon to be 321 questions. So boy, that's a lot of questions.